Hello, everyone. Welcome to CloudEagle's SaaS Masterminds podcast. Today on the show, we have Kineret Honnen, Director of Finance of EXCO. Welcome, Kineret.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. It's our pleasure. So everyone, today we are going to discuss a lot about SaaS and spend management and what does a director of finance do, right, at companies like EXCO. But before getting into all of that, why don't we ask Kineret to do like a quick introduction about herself so that everyone knows Kineret, and then we'll continue. And Kineret, one additional thing. So after you talk about what you do, we'd also love to hear like a quick fun fact about yourself.
Okay. Um, Again, thank you. My name is Kineret Honnen, and I'm currently Director of Finance at EXCO Technologies, a leading video platform for publishers. We work with some of the biggest media companies in the world, like Hearst, the Arena Group, New York Post, providing them with 360 technology to manage video strategy on the digital asset. As for myself, with over 9 years of experience in finance and accounting for high-tech companies, in my current role, I oversee financial operations, strategic financial management, cash flow, budgeting, cost analysis, all of these, in all of our locations globally, contributing to the company's growth and success. My background also includes 11 years of service as military officer, which has greatly influenced my leadership style and approach to problem solving.
Nice. Thank you so much, Kineret. I think that's a great background to have. And I did hear that you do have military experience, which has given you those leadership skills. So before coming into EXCO, you're also director of finance at one more company, right? Centrical. Now, Centrical, I see that you joined there as a financial controller and then grew through promotions to become director of finance. So what tips do you have for young finance controllers who also want to become director of finance in the future?
Yes, of course. Well, first of all, yes, I have said I started as, as an internship at EY where I provided insurance services for both private and public companies. And then, like you said, I spent several years working in various finance roles within the high-tech industry, which gave me a broad understanding of financial management in fast-paced environments. What I think that my role at EXCO allowed me to not only oversee financial operations, but also to engage in strategic decision-making. And this blend of operational and strategic responsibilities is both challenging and rewarding. For those aspiring to become director of finance or finance leaders, my advice would be to first build a solid foundation in both technical accounting and broader financial management. It's crucial to stay updated with industry trends and continuously seek learning opportunities. And one more thing is I think that networking and finding mentors in your field can provide invaluable guidance and support. And I think lastly, be adaptable, open to new challenges. Finance landscape is constantly evolving, especially in the high-tech industries.
Nice. Thanks, Kineret. I think segmented out as a 1, 2, 3, that was great. The second point, especially about finding mentors, that probably is a very big key, right? Because you want to be groomed into the role which you want to go into. So that is great to hear. Kineret, can you also talk a bit about what specifically attracted you to EXCO?
Yeah, sure. I think what specifically appealed me to joining EXCO as Director of Finance was the company's innovative product and unique approach to the partnership with our publishers, which is very different in the ad tech industry. EXCO is at the front end of video and monetization technology, and being part of a team that drives such cutting-edge product was very exciting to me. And of course, additionally, company's culture of collaboration and continuous improvement aligns perfectly with my professional values.
Okay, awesome. That is great to hear. Now, Kineret, specifically at EXCO right now, how are you taking care of spend management? Or rather, how specifically are you doing SaaS spend management?
Well, I think that it's a great question. I think that talking about 2024 challenges, in addition to increasing revenues, which is also a challenge in the ad tech industry due to a lot of changes in Google's new cookie policies, we've developed solutions to ensure partners are not addressed effectively by these changes. And as many media groups face increased challenges, and not only the challenges to increase revenue, there's the critical challenge of being cost effective. Managing SaaS spend efficiently is essential for maintaining financial health. These subscription expenses can quickly escalate and get out of hand. I think that it always starts with an Excel, which you need to maintain, and then it takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. And implementing a SaaS management tool can make a difference. These platforms provide comprehensive visibility into all subscriptions, helping track usage, manage renewals, ensuring cost efficiency. If these tools provide visibility in real time or integrate with accounting system, it's maintaining accurate financial records and identifying potential cost saving opportunities.
Right. Now, Kineret, you mentioned about getting visibility into financial system, what's the spend on it, right? Like, and moving away from spreadsheets. So that is great, right? Because you need visibility into all your spend and probably usage in one place. Now, how will this help you in terms of negotiating? Let's say you have this system which is always up to date and you're not running behind someone to get a spreadsheet updated every 2-3 months, right? But what is the value add? How will this really help you in negotiating or tracking expenses or monitoring? I want to understand that piece.
Well, first, I think that we sort of categorize SaaS tools based on their cost, while some tools are relatively inexpensive and managed as part of our monthly budget versus actual analysis. Others are significant investments, and for these higher cost tools, we have a dedicated process to ensure cost efficiency. We conduct the monthly meeting to review upcoming renewals, taking termination notice period into account. This proactive approach allows us to negotiate better terms before renewal deadlines. Missing the notice period can be costly. And I've heard stories from colleagues, like horror stories, about missing renewal dates and being forced to pay another $20,000 or $30,000 for another year when they intended to terminate the subscription. Which is also a policy that we have in the company as to no auto renewal policy. Whenever we renew a subscription, we always ask to remove the auto renewal section. It doesn't always work, but we make sure that when the renewal comes, they approach us, and not only that we will not be surprised by the renewal.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a very key point, right? Like when you're trying to manage your SaaS, when you already decide to cut down on few things and then suddenly something auto renews. Now, there are two things there, right? One is auto renewal. Renewal reminder is one. The other one is notice term reminders. Because some companies may have 30-day notice period, some may have 45, some may have 60-day notice period. So just knowing renewal date is not good enough. You also need to be reminded that this renewal date is there maybe in August, but your notice term is actually now. You need to decide now and give a notice now. So how do you track notice terms along with renewal dates?
Well, it's usually being tracked in our systems, but I have to honestly say that we don't wait for the renewal period to evaluate the necessity of these tools. As part of our ongoing budget versus actual analysis, we constantly assess and question the benefits we derive from each tool, ensuring that their costs align with our budget. This continuous evaluation helps us make informed decisions about retaining or terminating subscriptions. We have multiple controls in place throughout the process, from our BBA financial statements to the payment process itself. We use dedicated credit cards, such as Mesh, to manage and monitor payments, adding an extra layer of oversight and control.
Nice. That's great to hear that you have dedicated credit cards to manage each one of these payments, and that's how you're also able to monitor. So looks like you not only have one or two systems, but you have like 3-4 systems in place to ensure you are monitoring and tracking all your expenses.
Yes, it's not necessarily systems, but it's more controls. When you have control embedded throughout your processes, it makes things easier to raise the flag right on time.
Right. And now you have all this monitoring, tracking in place, right? Like, how do you go about negotiating for better deals and get like better payment terms from your vendors?
Well, I think that we've all learned that it doesn't hurt to ask. Like, we never just sign a contract as on the first offer. It's like there's always be some sort of negotiation. we will start negotiating on the amount spent, and then usually we'll go to the payment terms and the renewal process. There's a negotiation for each and every renewal. And we can always, we know that we have terms that are aligned with our policy. We can always ask for a 2 years contract to try and fix those terms for the next couple of years. There's a lot of, small stuff during the negotiation process, but we always do negotiation. We never accept an offer as it is.
Okay, that's great to hear. And so negotiating, is that something which only you do, Kineret, or is your team also involved? And that leads to my next question, which is going to be more around how are you building this culture of cost consciousness in your company? So maybe let's start with whether only you negotiate or the team does it, and how are you inculcating your values and your company's values in your team?
I think negotiation, it really depends on the size of the contract and the complexity of the contract itself. We had our own legal advisor in the company that is also part of reviewing the contracts, and when there are more like complicated contracts. When it's a simple renewal, it will usually be me or the CFO. Again, depends on the amount and the size of the engagement. But it will be usually within the finance along with the IT or the relevant professional that needs to explain exactly what do we need, how much do we need. And so we always have the professional side along with you in part of the negotiation.
Nice. And Kineret, now going into more around the cost consciousness culture, how are you building that within the teams? I understand your IT team and the app admins are involved there, right? But what about the whole company as such? Are you taking initiatives there, or is there any plans around building that within that company itself?
Of course, well, it is super important, and this is a process that we're doing. Again, part of our budget versus actual, having the departments has received their budget and actual every month to make sure that they're within budget and that it aligns. And I think that the next step in terms of these expenses is to monitor them as they occur, especially with R&D tools. Systems often have dashboards showing real-time costs, but typically the R&D teams are the primary users of these dashboards. And it's essential to develop a sense of cost consciousness within the R&D teams, encourage them to flag any unusual consumption immediately. We aim to avoid surprises on the invoice by addressing issues as they arise. The last thing we want is to receive an enormous invoice that we weren't expecting.
Nice. That is great to hear, Kineret. I think then the teams themselves, once you provide them a dashboard, they themselves become aware of what they're requesting, what they're utilizing, and they keep tabs on themselves. So providing a visibility into this dashboard looks like a key on how you're
It
inculcating.
is definitely a key, but in most R&D tools, I'm not the one providing the dashboards. Usually those tools have their own dashboards.
Right.
AWS and CloudEagle, those kind of tools, they have their own dashboards with, like I said, the primary users of these dashboards are the R&D teams. It's dashboards about consumption and usage and not necessarily cost, but there will always be another dashboard inside of it for cost. And you need the R&D team to look at, the R&D data, but also to look at the cost data as well, and to be able to raise a flag once something unusual is happening.
Nice. So they are logging into each of these applications dashboard rather than looking at a single dashboard which is being provided, looks like, right, Kineret?
I think it changes. Sometimes there is a reseller that is that they centralizes a few of those tools together, and you can see through the reseller's dashboard the data for a couple of tools together. It changes, it depends on the tool itself.
Got it. Now you bring in a very good angle about resellers. So how, if you had to say that a percentage wise, this percentage we go through resellers and this percentage is through direct vendors, what would that percentage look like for EXCO?
I can't really answer about the percentage, but I think that at the end of the day, the engagement should be a beneficial engagement for both sides. If the reseller is able to get us a good terms, that will be better than the ones that we get, we will communicate directly, because obviously when they're bringing a lot of customers together, they get much better terms. So once it's a win-win situation, we're always up for it. So resellers, we do use resellers in some places, and in some cases they bring in a lot of value.
Nice. So it's a case by case basis, depending upon where it adds value to you as a company, and also win-win situation for with the reseller, if it makes sense.
Yes.
Nice. So, thank you so much. I know we are almost on time. Just any last parting thoughts for other director of finances who are also watching this particular video, and other VP of finance, on how they can control the costs which they have. Any last parting thoughts?
I think the last thing that maybe we haven't talked about is share the knowledge. It is very important. We have a lot of groups, whether it's a professional group or financial leaders. When someone is using a very good tool, he will probably share it with the others, and we do advise a lot about those kind of stuff and share a lot of tips, and just having this group of people from the same industry that you can ask questions and get tips and recommendations is super helpful, and those kind of stuff really help with the SaaS management.
Awesome. Sharing knowledge, definitely always up for it. I think this is a great parting thought so that everyone else also understand that, and how they can share knowledge with the others, because once you figure out how to use a tool, and then how to cut down your costs, or if there is a better utilization of the tool, or also to increase productivity, sharing knowledge with others will definitely help cut down on costs, rather than everyone trying to do their own thing and reinventing the wheel.
Definitely.
Awesome. Thanks, Kineret. I think that was a great podcast for us. Thank you for joining us on this podcast.
Thank you for having me.
I'm sorry.
I said thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It was our pleasure. And I'm sure our viewers will enjoy the podcast as much as I loved hosting it. Thank you for doing this. All right. With that, everyone, thank you for joining us at CloudEagle SaaS Masterminds podcast. We had a great conversation today with Kineret Honnen, Director of Finance at EXCO, and hope you all will enjoy the show as much as we did. Signing off today. Thank you, and see you all in the next podcast very soon. Thanks, Kineret. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.